What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Off the Schneid. It is Wednesday night, so we're back-to-back days, getting caught up on our schedule a little bit. I didn't post this on the Twitter machine today. Sometimes I kind of like to do that just to see what kind of the audience looks like if I don't promote or anything like that. Just set up the stream, go live, and see how she goes. So we'll see how many people come in. I know BBG is live right now as well. I'll have BBG on Friday, so that'll be fun. I haven't drafted or shot the shit with him yet this draft season, so it'll be good to have BBG on. We'll be an hour earlier than we typically are on Friday, so 6 p.m. my time, 5 p.m. in the Pacific, and 8 p.m. in the East on Friday with BBG. Should be fun. Tonight we're going to do a little bit of exposure check. So I'm just over 50 drafts now. I posted it on Twitter, my exposures for each position, quarterback, running back, whatnot, after 50. So 50 even, right? I think I'm at maybe about 60 at this point. So let's pop over to that. So if you want to pull up your exposures, we can have a conversation about that, compare if we have questions, whatever. We can bounce stuff off each other. But another thing I quickly wanted to touch on, I'm not so sure we're going to get any more contests. The big board didn't even fill last year, right? Will it this year? Probably, but maybe not. Like, we got to realize that the sickos are drafting early and often, so they get their bullets out of the way. I think P Punch already maxed the big board, which I think is madness, but hey, it is what it is. If you have some strong stands and it works out, then good on you. But I think it's a little aggressive. I have 110 left, and I'm trying to save I'm not trying to save as many as I can, but like, I want the combine to get here. I want free agency to get here before I get too deep as far as my number of drafts. So I'm not sure. The big board didn't fill last year. Will it fill this year? Again, probably. But the big thing is the little board. So it's 189,000 entries, right? We're only about a third of the way there, almost exactly a third of the way, actually. But the problem that I kind of see with us getting a little board 2 essentially, is last year it was a 50 max. This year it's a 20 max. And they didn't even come close to filling the little board 2. So that to me basically says, let's slow down these sicko drafters and get this thing full, and then we'll be kind of laughing. So that's kind of my thoughts. I'm trying to save. I have 9 left of the little board. I want to save minimum 8 for as long as possible until the combine and free agency opens at least, and then I'll get it filled. And if another contest opens, cool. I'm gonna max everything in the pre-draft, which I always do. This is my favorite time of year. This is where I think I have an edge. So I'm gonna max everything. So if they put out another tournament, I'll max it. Awesome, let's do it. So it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to get my entries in. It's just I'm trying to push it as far as I can. The war room I've already filled or maxed out myself. Only have 4 max, so that one was pretty easy. We did that last night actually on stream. That'll fill in a couple days here, and then the bigger board that'll fill as well. I still have 3 bullets there. I don't know if we'll get a biggest board. I'm not sure. We did last year. It filled, so I'm not sure if they'll launch that. But if they do, I'll max that as well. So we'll kind of see what happens. I'm not so sure we're going to get another kind of cheaper entry level type of tournament. I hope we do, like a $10, $8, something like that would be cool. $15, I don't know, something like that would be fun, and I would really appreciate it. I'm sure I'm not the only one that would like something like that. But again, I know they want to fill the big board this year, and I think they will. But the little board I think is going to be an issue because all the sickos, I've already drafted or filled it, and I'm trying to hold off as long as possible personally. But that's not what we're here for. Let's jump into our exposures. So I'm at 54 total drafts. So let's see where we're at. Okay. Actually, let's just start at the top here. So let's zoom in a little bit, get some better vision on this sucker. So starting at the top, Jeremy Bernard. I genuinely don't understand how. This is something I really want to talk about tonight too. Is I really really do not I know I'm high on Jeremy Bernard. I know I'm not the only one. There's other streamers that are super high on Jeremy Bernard. PPR Tyler's one of them. I'm 74.1%, almost 75% on my way. Right. I genuinely just do not understand how he's still going in the final round. I don't understand how his ADP has fallen and he's going in the final round. I don't get it because there's been nothing but buzz as far as at least second round. Chad Reuter, who is a writer for NFL.com, not some fucking scrub on Twitter, right? He's a writer for NFL.com. He had Jeremy Bernard going in the first round. Do I agree with a lot of his mock draft? No, I really, really don't. I didn't really like the mock draft at all. But if he's getting any first round buzz by someone in the industry that's, not just some schmuck on Twitter, that's encouraging. But beyond that, almost everybody else is giving this guy second round buzz. And like that feels almost locked into me. Therefore, how is he going so late? I just don't understand that. I really, really don't. So, I mean, keep it going. I'm sure people in the chat are drafting him and whatnot, but as far as the general public, just keep it going. I'll click Jeremy Bernard every fucking time in the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th round. I don't care. I'm taking him as much as possible. 70, 3/4 of the time I'm picking Jeremy Bernard. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. Similarly with Denzel Boston. Right? Like if we're looking at the top 3 as being first round picks, which everybody is, and they probably are, and I'm sure they will go in the first round, right? Almost everybody again has Denzel Boston as a first round pick as well. So within 10 picks of those other, probably of the last of the 3, let's say they go 16th overall, something like that, right? 18th maybe. Denzel Boston is getting back into the first round buzz. So it's like what, a 10 pick difference sort of a thing. And then in theory, he goes to a better team, right? So again, he's getting nothing but first round buzz, yet you're getting this massive discount against the top 3 of the rookie wide receivers. So those two just don't make any sense to me as far as where their ADPs are. So I'm going to click them both as much as I possibly can, at least until the combine gets here and maybe something changes from there. Last one up top, Nicholas Singleton. I do think I need to slow down a little bit on Singleton, but I still think, again, he's a value at running back 59. Even if he goes somewhere where he's in a bit of a timeshare, maybe he's the third down back sort of thing, pass catching back. And then within just one injury, he becomes kind of the guy. So I'm still going to be clicking Singleton. 42%. I might pull that into the 30s and just see where it kind of lands, but we'll see how she goes. Let's say what's up to the chat. We got Stephen Hines in here. Appreciate you, man. We're doing well. Green Bean, what's up, man? Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming in. Little and big and little board. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how she goes. Little board 2 ran 421 to 424, and it was only 3 days. Was it really only 3 days? Holy shit. I mean, maybe it was because I only got like 40. I think I got 45 of my 50 entries. I didn't even get the full 50 so maybe you're right. It was just way too fast. So I guess, but my what I'm saying is it's only a third of the way full. The little board, I guess we still have 2 months left of drafting, but we'll see where it goes. I hope they do. Like I said, anything they launch in the pre-draft, I'll max. I don't care what it is. I'll max it. So hopefully they do. I hope I genuinely do hope that they'd launch another little board and something else a little bit higher. Like again, a $15, $20 4 max, $20 5 max, something like that would be good. And then a little board too, but we'll see. But either way, like I said, I'm going to max it regardless. Frank's in the house. What's up, man? Appreciate you. I'm doing well. We're doing a little exposure check and see where we're at. So I'm happy with these top 3. I'm really fine with that, especially Bernard and Boston, 2 guys I really like. So I'm going to keep drafting the shit out of them. As you can see, 75% Jeremy Bernard, 74, but that's crazy to be honest. But Candyman's in the house. What's up, man? Appreciate you. But yeah, I'm going to keep drafting them. These are the highest exposures I've ever had, ever literally. But I'm not going to change it if I think that there's that much of a discount, which I genuinely do think there is that much of a discount. Then yeah, I'm gonna draft him. Emmett Johnson, Chimere DK. Let's do the next three, I guess. Emmett Johnson, I'm happy with that. I'll keep drafting him. I think my comp for him is James Cook. Very similar skill set, so he can go anywhere and get on the field. Chimere DK, I think he's a smash. Braylon Allen's a guy that I do have to slow down on, so that's good to kind of see that. I do have to slow down on Braylon. Let's go like this. So I do have to slow down on Braylon for sure with the Breece Hall potential franchise tag news. So yeah, that's a little frustrating. Like we talked about it last night. I'm not going to dig too much into it, but that's really, really frustrating with the news. Katron, I think is perfectly fine. Again, similar to Singleton. And again, where his ADP is RB54, but honestly, even more so than Singleton, because I think he's the first and second down kind of back. And then in a pinch, or if your third down back just isn't getting the job done, maybe he's not a good enough pass blocker, whatever it is, because Katron might be the best pass blocker in this draft class. So if he can run on first, second down and pass block really well, and he can catch the ball, is that like his bread and butter? Absolutely not, but he can get the job done. So I think Katron Allen could be a 3-down back. Again, he's more of a first and second down guy, but again, he can pass block and he can get the job done. So, there's enough RB needy teams out there where I think Katron can absolutely get on the field. So I'm going to keep clicking him. Mekhi Lemon, that's my wide receiver 1, first-round pick. I'm going to click him as much as I kind of can. Jeremiah Love, same thing, 30% clip. I'm going to try to keep that up there. Second-round pick, so it's a little bit difficult, but I'm going to try to keep it up to that clip. I love Love, as we know. Bucky, I'm happy with that. I'll keep drafting him. Algier, same thing. Isaiah Likely, I think he's a smash where he's going. He's my number 1 tight end, not number 1 ranked, but he's my highest drafted tight end. I think he's a steal at tight end 22. There's just a ton of landing spots for him where he can really excel. I'm taking the bet on Coleman just because of what Joe Brady said. The best thing to happen to Keon Coleman is him being named the head coach. Okay, I'll believe you. Former second-round pick. Especially with the cost, associated with Keon Coleman, like 17th, 18th round pick, 20th round pick, even at times, right? A lot of times, a lot of times when, we get news like this or GMs, not necessarily GMs, but head coaches, offensive coordinators, things like that. Like when they tell us stuff, we have a tendency to either like completely believe it or completely discount it, right? So with the Bills, and this is every single year, every offseason. Oh, wide receiver X is going to the Bills. Imagine him on the Bills. Oh, can't wait for the Bills to draft him. Every fucking year we do this with the Bills, right? And how many times have they added a wide receiver? We get Keon Coleman is what we get. And that's who they drafted. So jeez, excuse me. So I'm gonna believe him. I'm gonna believe him. For some reason, we believe when David Blau says about the Commanders and Terry McLaurin that we're going to build the offense around getting them 10 targets a game. We believe that. But then when Joe Brady says the best thing to happen to Keon Coleman was him being named head coach, we don't believe that. I'm just going to take, especially with the cost, I'll take the gamble on Coleman. So Herbert, my highest drafted quarterback. If you don't know how I feel about the Chargers, I think they have a very, very, I'm picking them to win the Super Bowl this year for the Chargers. There you go. Let's just go there. Eli Stowers, my number 2 tight end, cost again, like fits in a lot of rooms, a lot of tight end rooms. So I'm fine with that, more than fine with that. Jalen Noel takes over for Christian Kirk, who moves on. I do not think that Tank Dell is going to be able to push Jalen Noel out of kind of the slot, essentially. I think Noel's a pretty good click at the end of drafts in the 20th round. Waddle, I like a lot. Supposedly he asked for his release from the Dolphins, which would be fine, and that's never going to happen. So point's pretty moot there. But I like Waddle's cost, and I'm higher on him than most. I have him ranked a little bit higher than ADP for sure. Mark Andrews, I think, is a smash where he goes. I think he's being disrespected right now. Lamar comes back, he signs a new contract, and then Isaiah Likely moves on. feels pretty good if I'm being honest. Rico Dowdle, again, a lot of landing spots. I think the Chiefs are a major landing spot. Potentially reunion with the Cowboys is possible. The Seahawks could be a team that looks at a guy like Dowdle. I don't know. There's some really good landing spots for a running back with Dowdle's skill set. So I got off clicking him, and I was talking about it last night. I kind of got off clicking him, not for any real rhyme or reason. I'm just trying to kind of flip-flop between Algier and Dowdle a little bit and trying to make sure I get enough exposure to both is my real concern with those two right there. If I could afford it, I'd max every 20 round pre-draft tournament as well. Love the season. 100%, man. Like, I got a decent, I finished like 11th in the mitten one, finished 11th. So I got a nice little bankroll boost there. So that helps, but, I'll sink the money into it. Big board was 98.2% filled. They closed due to combine. No, it went through the combine. It stopped as soon as the draft happened. Like the day before, the day of the NFL draft is when they stop, from my recollection. Right, the combine is in a week or 10 days or something like that, and the draft is in April. So they didn't stop drafting throughout the combine. Yeah, they close the 23rd, which is again right before the NFL draft. So there's nothing to do with the combine. The combine will run and drafts run concurrently. So we'll see. Again, I hope they launch as many contests as possible. I'll max all of them. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but let's keep moving down. We got Omar Cooper. I like that. I was a little bit ahead of the game, but then everyone's caught on to Omar Cooper, and now he's getting tougher to click, though he's still fine with where he goes. And I'm still adding him in 20%, definitely well above the field. So I'm happy with that, and I'll keep clicking him. Ladd, I need to continue to keep clicking. I think he's perfectly fine where he goes, and I'll keep clicking him as much as I kind of can. Colston Loveland, pretty high up there for me. Number 3, I think, tight end, tied with Mark Andrews there. Rondé Gadsden, same thing. I like them both. I think Loveland has legitimate outs to tight end 1. Gadsden has legitimate outs to top 5 finish. So I'll keep dropping them. Jalen McMillan, that feels good. Jack Besh, I like that potential. Again, it's a 20th round pick, so I'm okay to take that gamble. I take a fair amount of Mendoza as well. So a draft, not the combine. Yeah, I got you. So I like Besh. I liked him last year, 2nd round pick. I still like him. And that's something I'm trying to make sure I focus on doing. Like if I liked a guy last year, depending on what's changed, I kind of have to still like him this year. So a guy like Jack Besh, a guy like Roma Dunze, right? Whether it's a rookie or not, but a guy that I liked last year and maybe they underperformed, even Kyle Williams, right? For sure is on that list. So if I like them as much as I did last year and not a lot or little has changed, or everything has changed and it's way better in Jack Besh's instance, right? Then I'm going to try to get my clicks in on them this year. Caleb, I think, is my QB2 right now. I think I got some heat on Twitter about that, but I think Caleb Williams is a smash. Not necessarily, I don't love the cost, but it's just the price of doing business, man. It is what it is this year with quarterbacks. I really don't want to fall behind at running back and quarterback. I've been saying that all draft year. I think that's the focus. And then there's some value at wide receiver. So I'm going to take my QBs kind of where they go because you have to. It's the price of doing business. Breece Hall, I'm okay with that, but his price has kind of changed, which is not awesome. Justin Jefferson, who I was very low on last year, very, very low on. That one worked out, but I'm right back in on Justin Jefferson at cost for sure. I think he's the best 2nd round pick right now, followed by Jeremiah Love, but he's creeping into the top 12. He's creeping into the 1st round. So I've been starting to click him in the 1st round. And maybe we'll talk about that quick when we get into a draft room about why, and we'll kind of take it from there. Hampton, I like. 20% is fine. Pearsall, I like. I'm happy with that. Alec Pierce, that's fine, but I was kind of hoping he would leave. So we'll see. There hasn't been an announcement of a franchise tag quite yet, but I'm pretty confident they're either going to franchise him or extend him. I think it's Pierce over Pittman for the Colts. That's again, I said it last night. That's my gut feeling. is they're going to pick Pierce over Pittman. But we'll see. Either way, I want to keep. I've been trying to get a little more Pittman lately if he's the one that leaves. Because to be honest, I actually want the guy that leaves more. But we'll see who that is. Najee, I think, is a fine 20th round click. Tajay, I've been focusing on getting more, and I have, so I'm happy with that. I don't need to make him as much of a smash anymore. Just kind of get him when it makes sense. Jordan Mason, that's fine. I'm happy with that. Worthy, so that's good. 16.7%. I kind of wish I was a little higher with the Rashee Rice news that came out today. 0% Rashee Rice. We don't need to scroll down to that. I'll tell you right now, I haven't clicked him a single time, and I won't. Not near at his price. It's not going to happen. We got Ted Hurst here. I like him. I think 16.7 might be a little heavy, so I should definitely slow down a little bit on that. But I wanted to get ahead of the game before the combine. And if he keeps getting, second round buzz, early third round buzz, but mostly second round buzz, and he has a good combine, he should probably move up a little bit. So I'm just trying to get ahead, but I think I'm okay with where I'm at. Goff, I like that. Allen, Malik Willis, that's fun. Roma Dunes, I've been focusing on more, and that feels good. Mendoza, CD. If I think George Pickens is not going to be on the Cowboys, then CD is a smash, and I'm going to keep drafting him. Kyle Williams, that's interesting to be at 16. He hasn't exactly been a focus, which is fine. It's just might be a little aggressive. We'll see. Wandale's good. Let's take a look at who's at the bottom as far as the positions. Let's go that way. Ty Simpson I drafted once. Cool. Interesting. Was it an auto maybe? I don't know. Daniel Jones, I'm not really focused there. Stroud, I'm not focused at all. Basically, if I get blocked out completely, I'll click Stroud. I'd like to get a little more Dak, that's for sure. He just flew up the board a little bit and kind of caught me off guard, I feel like. So definitely want to focus on getting more Dak paired up with CD when I have as much CD as I do. Hurts, that's fine. I actually don't think Hurts is a very good, I don't think he's the click. He should be the last quarterback in that range, which he is, but he's even tough click there considering like where Dak goes. Some of these other guys that we'll get up to. Baker, that's fine. I'd like to get a little more Baker maybe. Lamar, I don't think is a good click where he is, like the range that he goes. I think there's just so many better kind of clicks around him as far as running backs, wide receivers. Joe Burrow, I'd like to get a little more of. Drake May, I wonder what his average ADP for me is for Drake May, because I only take him when he falls a little bit. Purdy feels pretty good right there. That's about average. Yeah, that's fine. Let's take a look at the running backs. Basically, I'm looking for who I need to add more. Ramondre, wow, I really need to get more Ramondre, maybe more Tucker. Henderson, if he falls and it makes sense. Tracy, I've been trying to get more, so that's kind of a focus for me. We talked about him last night as well. Vidal, Jacobs, I'm kind of out on, but I'll take him if he falls. Judkins, I got bullied into taking by PPR Tyler. I would not be picking Judkins at all personally. Just got bullied into it. One draft of McCaffrey. I don't want a stone zero, but I'm not going to take him unless it's like pick 9, 10, something like that. I'll take McCaffrey, but I don't want a stone zero. And this is obviously a little board. I would like to probably get like 3 shares of him in the little board, and then probably, I don't know, maybe 10, let's call it, in the big board, right around there. I definitely don't want a stone zero of McCaffrey, but I'm not going to be overweight. Probably like 6% feels pretty good. 4 to 6% feels fine for McCaffrey. Just a lot of concerns there. Aaron Jones, I don't know what happened there. I think that might have been an auto draft, or he just fell like 20 picks or something. Pollard, I should probably get a little more of. Rashad White, I should probably get a little more. Henry for sure. Walker for sure. Krosky Merritt, wow, 5%. Krosky, interesting. Kamara, that's only taken him when he falls like 15 to 20 picks. So that's interesting. I've been able to get him there, but he is just plummeting right now. Kyron, yeah, again, when it makes sense or he falls. I'd like to get the 1-1 a little more, but it is what it is. Achan feels fine. All these guys, I'd like to get more Genty, believe it or not. Another guy that I was completely out on last year. Chase Brown, I'd like to get a little more of. LaQuinn Allen, Jordan James, I like those two. Mike Washington's there. Yeah, all this feels fine. Let's take a look at wide receivers, and then we'll jump into a draft. Zay, wow, I should definitely click a little more Zay. Wow, Ibuka, how did I only click him one time? That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't make sense to me. Wow, Ibuka and Zay Flowers. Okay, I'm really glad we're doing this. Ibuka and Zay Flowers. Interesting. Adams, I'm okay with, but I do want to get a few more clicks. Olave needs a few more clicks. I'd love to get more Puka, but again, I need the draft picks to do it. Devontae, I think I need to click a couple more times. Nothing crazy. Tetaroa, interesting. Devonta Smith. Wow, there's some clicks down here that I'm just shocked I only have a couple clicks on, to be honest with you. Drake London, that's okay. Just the range that he goes is all right. Flournoy, I've kind of focused on getting up to, right around the 8%. So that's good. We're getting there. Higgins, I could click a couple more times. Harrison, for sure. In the big board, I need more Harrison in the big board. These are all little boards. So a couple clicks, Chase Roberts, a couple clicks, Eric McAllister, a couple clicks of Branch. That feels okay. T. Higgins, I can focus on. Wow. McLaurin has been a focus, so if I can keep adding there. Same thing with Pittman, like I said earlier. Carnell Tate, wow, if I have that much lemon, I need a little more Tate. Maybe Tyson as well, but more Tate than Tyson. And that's kind of where I'm at, but I probably need to click them both a little bit more. And maybe pivot off lemon just a little bit, I think, is how that's going to have to go. Burden, again, I don't want a stone zero. I clicked him a lot, looks like in the little board. So maybe a couple more big board shots on Burden and keep it at about that, 6 to 8, right around the field kind of range. Skylar Bell Surratt feels good. Washington's fine. Kevin Coleman, I like that. Chase, Concepcion. Yeah, cool. That feels pretty good. I'm relatively happy. My wide receivers, there's a few guys in the wide receiver room that I definitely need to add more clicks of. But let's pop right into a big board. 22nd. We're jumping in right now. Man, I'm in this developer mode. We might have to switch. I don't know what this developer mode thing means. I'm going to have to figure out how to get out of that. That's really annoying. Let's jump over to the old Safari. Hopefully you didn't. If you jumped in the draft, my apologies, guys. But this is driving me crazy. We're going to do this. Apologies for the technical delays. This is really annoying. That's really frustrating. Let's see if we can jump in on Safari. All right, we're back over here. Jump into the big board. Hopefully this lets us. All right, we're in the big board, or on Safari, we're in the big board. Waiting on one. So hopefully you're in. Hopefully it's the same draft and everybody's in. And then we're good to go. That's really annoying. I don't know what the hell that means. Developer mode. Baseball's changed so much over the years. 1970 Suns for last place. Word, man. Stats, just throwing out baseball stuff. Baseball is my first love, really. I played college baseball, so big baseball guy once upon a time. Al Boogie's in the house. What's up, man? I'm doing real well. I'm doing well. How are you? Appreciate it. Appreciate you coming in. Who do we got in here? We got Michael Moisen at the one spot. Good on you. If you're in the chat, let me know. Brooklyn Bum. That's a fun name, I suppose. We got Terrence Charles. Shout out at the 6. Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Pop. I don't know who that is, but definitely know the name. Albug's in the house in the 10. Mr. Mufasa at 11. And Legio Paul at the 12 spot. Friends and family. Nice. We got in. We're all good. Everybody got in. Let's see if we can zoom in a touch. There we go. The screen is smaller on Safari than it is on Chrome, which is kind of annoying. Foss is in the house. Oh no, what happened? What happened? Man, I would have loved a Puka share there. But we'll take Jamar Chase. We'll take Jamar Chase. What happened, Bugs? What happened? Oh yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about here was Justin Jefferson, who I have ranked at 10 now. So he's still ADP wise outside of the first round, right? Though we'll see, he could and probably should creep in. But again, I'm picking him ahead of ADP at 10. Maybe earlier, but why? Look at the rest of this, right? Even go to ADP, right? So if we click Justin Jefferson, let's say we're at 10 and for where Al Boogie is, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4 picks between your two, right? So if you take Jefferson there, then it's HN, Genty, Hampton, Barkley, Love, Henry, any of these running backs that you can pair up with Jefferson. So that's kind of what I'm doing is if I'm like 10, 11, obviously 12, but 10, 11, 12, I'm just taking Jefferson and then I'll take whatever running back kind of falls into my lap there. That's kind of what I'm doing with Justin Jefferson personally. So, yeah, that's why I have him ranked there. So, Mr. Mufasa, that's fine, makes sense. I mean, like what I'm doing is I probably would have. That's why I've fallen a little bit on Genty though, because I'm taking Jefferson instead of Genty, hoping once in a while Genty will be there for me. But I should probably flip that around sometimes and just get some Genty. Get some. I don't know. Cook. I'm trying to get just enough HN, but I don't want to be like over the field or anything like that. But regardless, that's kind of what I'm doing with Justin Jefferson. That's kind of my newest little take, if you will, on the Jefferson train. So let's see what we can do here. Hampton goes, Neighbors, Taylor, Cook, Henry. Henry gets pulled up a little bit. That's fine. McBride, McCaffrey, Lamb, London. That's kind of fun. Genty, Jefferson. I definitely like that. Chase Brown goes, wow, I got a Jamar Chase and a Jeremiah Love. You bet your ass. I'll take that. That's a fun start. That's a really fun start. That might be my favorite 2-pick start I've had. Obviously, Jamar Chase, we know why. And Love's kind of my guy. So I really like that. Puka Irving, I like that. Gibbs Bowers, that's pretty fun. It's really nice to get Bowers when you're at the one spot, and you get Bijan and Bowers. That's really feels really good. It's really fun. We'll see if or how long it takes for Rashee Rice to fall. I have him ranked 10 picks past ADP, but I'll probably put him even lower. I do need to update these a little bit and finish them because I'm only down to like 50. So I definitely need to get it up to about 200 or so. But it takes time. Typically, I'm around ADP anyways and draft off of ADP and then just toggle back and forth is fun. It's nice. Makes some sense. Would have been K-Walk there because I do need to add a little bit more. I do need more T, but I need more Tet as well. Let's do Tet. Tetaroa McMillan. Let's do that. I need more Olave also, but if Love goes to the Saints, I do want to mix in a little bit of both. So let's go Tet. That feels fun. I've been thinking the same as you, Cody. Makes sense because of all the RBs available. Yeah, that's exactly why I'm doing it, because I'm going to get one of them. So take Jefferson. But again, then that kind of pushes Genty off of, your board a little bit, which I definitely want a little bit more Genty, certainly a lot more than last year, considering if you know how I felt about Genty last year. But so yeah, I need to mix that in as well. But I think it just makes sense because look who, like, Jeremiah Love went way down here. Hampton, Love, Henry, Barkley, all these guys kind of go typically after the 15 or right at it. So yeah. Rice goes at 32. That's nowhere near down far enough. That's aggressive, if you ask me. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. It's basically the same thing essentially as doing this Genty Jefferson. It's the same sort of thing, or like McCaffrey Jefferson, HN Jefferson, Barkley Jefferson, Hampton Jefferson, whatever. It's the same thing. So, just make sure you get your Jefferson shares. But I guess I'll be the one of the people to blame for pushing him up to the first round, I guess. Best to get Jefferson while he's still a second rounder. Exactly. He was going even further down. He was probably like 17 or something like that. I have a fair amount of Lamb Jefferson starts, at least like 2 or 3, 4, something like that, 3 or 4. Same thing on the Monra Jefferson, right? I've got a few of those. JT Jefferson, and now you can't get that. Like, you cannot get that now. So yeah, this feels really good for Mr. Mufasa here. Genty Jefferson, that's got to feel pretty good. That's a good start that might not be possible soon enough. So again, if I can get as much Jefferson, and maybe that's actually a little bit flawed, I suppose, because I do Jefferson Love a fair amount, and that's probably always going to be available. But if you kind of mix and match, Jefferson, Barkley, pull up Henry, stuff like that, then you can kind of even it out and make it make sense a little bit. Henderson is there. I have Colson Loveland ranked a bunch higher than where I'm picking right now. So let's do that. Though I kind of really need some Igbuka. Let's do Igbuka. I need to get more Igbuka for sure. I did not think I only had one click of Emeka Igbuka. That's kind of crazy to me and unacceptable, really. So let's do that. Boogie agrees with the Justin Jefferson stuff as well. Yeah, I gotta now. That's kind of why I want to do the exposure talk too, because right around now is when you want to start evening it out a little bit, especially if you're way, like, for me, I'm way too far behind on Ibuka. I really need to catch up. So, and really, it's because of Loveland is the biggest reason why, because I really, really like Loveland. I think he's probably the number one, target in that offense. I really do, over all the wide receivers. So he's kind of an absolute smash for me. But yeah. Lemon goes. Tate is definitely in my crosshairs a little bit, but I will take Henderson if he's there. I need him to fall. So it's Henderson over Harvey. Let's go Tate then. If Tate's still there, let's do that. I definitely need a little more Tate in my life. I kind of hate this running back range, but if I can get a faller, then I'll take Henderson. I'll take Harvey. If they fall a little bit, then I'll try to pick up some shares. So I would have went Henderson if he was there, but that's okay. Kind of falling behind at running back a little bit, but I might do a little bit of a strategy I've been thinking about the past couple days. We'll see how it goes, but I might enact a little bit of a strategy I've been thinking about. Because again, everybody's doing this RB heavy types of builds, right? I'm literally, me and Michael Moisen, through 5 rounds, we are the only 2 teams that only have 1 running back on our roster so far. Everyone else has 2 or 3 Oh, sorry. Terrence is going full 0 RB. Jeez, just pissing. Never mind. But either way, so 3 out of 12, right, have 2 or 3 running backs minimum. So that's kind of something, not necessarily that I want to, like, I'm not trying to be 0 RB at all. I would rather, the strategy that I'm thinking, I would rather have 2. So I'd rather have like Love and Walker, and that would have been my click over Tet for sure. And then Henderson over Tate would have been my click as well. Harvey, I just could have went with Harvey, but I just think he needs to fall a little bit more for me to make that click. But those are the 2 guys that I am clicking that range. It's not Scadaboo and it's not Judkins. It's Harvey and Henderson. But again, only if they're kind of falling into my lap a little bit. So it would have been Joe Burrow there also. I'll throw that in, but that's all right. He's gone. And then basically getting 2 in the first 3-4 rounds, and then being off running back until basically the end of the draft. That's kind of a strategy I've been thinking about, and I might do that. We'll see what we end up with in a running back room and kind of take it from there. But yeah, we'll see how she shakes out. We could go Ramondre, who I need more shares of for sure. We kind of talked about that. Let's do Tyler Warren. I do like the quarterbacks in this range as well. I definitely want to get away from wide receiver. I think I'm really strong already. So I need to pick up other positions regardless of what it is. Quarterback, tight end, running back, any of those other than wide receiver. But if Ricky Pearsall's there, might be forced to click him. Hartman's in the house. What's up, man? Appreciate you popping by. Hit that like button for me, guys, if you don't mind. It takes 2 seconds. It's free. It's nice. Might as well. If you're new to the channel, you like the content, hit that subscribe button for more. We'll be streaming until the NFL draft. Actually, we'll be streaming until the start of the NFL season. Literally from now until the start. I think there's like a week break. But other than that, we'll be streaming. I'm not going to continue to fall behind at quarterback. So let's do my favorite and go Herbert. Let's do that. Feel like you have to get 1 in this range. I really do. I think that might be the kind of like the winning or losing strategy this year is you have to get 1 of these quarterbacks in this range. Daniels, May, Caleb, Hurts, Herbert, Lawrence, and even Dart. Who else do we have? Prescott. I guess you could throw Mahomes in there, but I'm not. But Prescott, I would throw in there. I feel like that's the range. So last year, I was very heavily talking about the rounds 8 through 12 quarterbacks. Heavily talking about that all draft season last year. And in the big board, they kind of get pushed up. It happens every year. So right now it's round 6 and 7 that I think you have to get at least 1. Last year, rounds 8 to 12, you needed 2 of those guys minimum, if not 3, or you added a third one late, whatever, or you had one, whatever. You needed, I wanted to be done drafting quarterback. What I was saying heavily is I wanted to be done by round 12 drafting quarterbacks, done completely, whatever that meant, whether it was 2 or 3, I wanted to be done. This year, I just think you have to have 1 by round 7. You have to. You kind of have to have two running backs and 1 quarterback by round 7. Those are kind of my like things you have to do this year. That's how I feel about it. Could that be wrong? Obviously, but that's been my strategy so far, at least for the most part. I'm mixing in a little bit of everything, but that's been pretty firmly in my strategy. I kind of like this: Cook, Henry, Allen, and then just piss and yellow. I kind of like the way that goes. Terrence catches up at quarterback and tight end. Stacks up Daniels with McLaurin. That feels good. Doc 79, what's up, man? Appreciate you coming in to say hello. I wondered if BBG's done. The viewership just went up a little bit, so I'm assuming BBG's done. Man, that would have been Manungai 100% right there. I am going to pull up Dowdle here. I'm going to pull up Dowdle over Chuba, over Corum, over Jadarian Price. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. If you can't build zero RB in the year that all the running backs are pulled up, when can you? I've built several 6 wide receiver starts, 3, 8, 6, 3, and like the results. Yeah, that's fine. And it is contrarian. That's kind of what I was saying. I want to do, I'm not going to go full contrarian and do zero RB, but I do want to mix in some other types of builds, not necessarily like this, but again, like taking 2 early and then being completely off running back basically until the end of the draft. I was going to go Algier when I pulled up Dowdle, but I forgot I drafted Herbert and I've got Gadsden here. So let's just do that. And now I could be done at tight end. But again, not completely dissimilar from what you're doing. It's a, I guess, a version of like a hero RB or dual RB, and then being done until like literally round 16 or something, and then doing 7 probably instead of the 8. Again, not full contrarian, but like a version of that is what I've been thinking. So I agree with the sentiment here, Paul. I do. Like if everyone's doing it, then you got to zig when everyone else is zagging, right? Or you got to zag when everyone else is zigging, however you look at it. So I absolutely kind of agree with what you're saying. But I'm not willing to do full zero RB. So I'm kind of doing it right now, even with the Dowdle. Like running back was always the pick there, whether it was Manungai, Dowdle, Algier, Price, Corum, Hubbard, throw anyone in there. Like running back was always the pick right there, kind of regardless. So I'm not going like, I'm not purposefully, going against the grain on that sort of a thing, but I am behind at running back right now. So I am kind of enacting this strategy a little bit. I hope I can get at least one more running back that I feel good about. And then I'm going to do what my strategy is. But again, different variations. So I agree with what you're saying. And yeah, you got to zag when everyone else is zigging for sure. And, you're going to get unique too. So I don't disagree. I don't. Not being able to draft big boards yet has been killing me, but it's been a good break from drafting. Man, hit it with a gritty can't draft. That's brutal, man. So these quarterbacks are going to get pushed up even more. Hey, just kidding you, pal. I'm just kidding you, pal. That's brutal. Why can't you? You out of state or something like that you can't draft? Are you in a state where you can't draft? Do you think the general order of the top 10 or so QBs will stay the same barring any big free agent moves? I think so. Who's QB 10? Is it Mahomes? Oh, he's 12. Wow. So yeah, if he's 12, Dart, Lawrence. Yeah, I really don't think anyone can surpass him. Again, what I've been saying all draft season so far is the whole top 10 outside of Burrow, and even Burrow can move around a little bit, but the whole top 10, Allen Jackson, that's kind of funny, but Allen, Jackson, Williams, May, Daniels, Dart, Lawrence, Herbert, Hurts, even Burrow a little bit, they all run a little. They can all run and they can all get in the end zone. So what won last year? A quarterback that just got in the end zone a couple times. I'm going to go Darnold because I really can't keep falling behind here. Unless I want to just like pull up Emmett Johnson. Let's do that. Wandale's a great click right here. And I could like double stack the Carolina thing, but I just don't want to with Coker. I don't mind Higgins here, even though I really hate Stroud, but I don't mind Higgins there. Concepcion. I don't like Marks at all. JCM is tough to click. I'll take him if he falls, but I think he's tough to click at ADP. Tyrone Tracy, I like. He could be someone worth looking at. Stroud, Higgins, don't hate that idea. I believe Baker went, correct? I'm pretty positive on that. Yeah, he went. So that would have been nice to get Baker. 4 quarterbacks. Wow, what are we doing? Interesting. I'm going to pull up Mendoza. I kind of have to. And this range stinks to me. So I'm perfectly happy to pull up Mendoza here. Honestly, there was someone posted a clip of Mendoza probably halfway through the season this year that they asked, like, who does this remind you of? And I was like, man, I haven't watched any Mendoza outside of this clip that you literally posted that I'm looking at, but it looked like Justin Herbert to me. So I'm most certainly not comping Mendoza to Justin Herbert. I still need to watch tape on him. So, but that's kind of funny that happened. But yeah, I think it all stays the same. I don't realistically, I think anyone can jump. Maybe like someone like Purdy, but I just don't think so. I really don't. I think the top 10 stays the way it is for sure. I guess Dak could move up if he's not in the top 10 for quarterbacks. Hit that like button for our favorite Canadian. That's right. Appreciate that, Boogie. 3 QBs before third wide receivers, maybe new meta. Yeah, and then he goes 4 quarterbacks in 10 rounds. Can't say I agree with it, but I do like Nakua and Waddle. I like his running backs, except for Krosky. I don't love that. I'd probably go with, I don't know. Because, yeah, this range does stink, and that's kind of what Frog Clone here is talking about. That range is miserable. I agree. So I really don't mind pulling up Mendoza when I need a quarterback. Yeah, 4 through 10. That's aggressive if you ask me. Mendoza is him. I agree. I really am pretty high on Mendoza. Pretty high. So I'm drafting him ahead of Stroud every day of the week and twice on Sundays. But I get this when you're stacking the Higgins and Stroud. And then I think he's probably got, Collins as well. So that makes sense that you're doing that. But I would definitely be taking Mendoza over Stroud, over Kyler for sure. I'm not drafting Kyler at all, mind you. It depends on the range or depends on your build, but he is kind of fine. Don't get me wrong. Jeez. I'm glad Tracy went there because I would have been forced to click him, and it's a fine click. Typically, I'm Cam Ward or maybe Malik Willis here, but Bryce Young makes sense when I have Tet. Let's just do that. Done a quarterback now. That feels good. Not forcing a stack, kind of fell into my lap. Let's make that happen. I'm done at quarterback. I could be done at tight end, but I might just add a last round, late round flyer type of thing. We'll see. I feel pretty good everywhere, except for my running backs are a little soft. Don't get me wrong. Mason would have been on my menu. But he goes. Kamara, I guess I could get, but I'm not going to pick him here. If he falls to my next pick, which is what, 65, where I got him yesterday, right around there anyways. If he falls to there, yeah, I'll click Kamara on a team like this where I need a running back and I kind of need a vet, a serviceable vet sort of thing. Dobbs can make some sense. He goes. I've got Igbuka, so I don't necessarily want McMillan here. I'm going to go. I'm gonna go Tajay, even though I kind of just said I need to get off the click a little bit. I suppose Benson is okay there, but I just don't want to fall for this again. I really don't. I really, really don't. And they could easily draft and probably will a running back or sign somebody. So I'm kind of leery of Trey Benson. When someone drafts 4 QBs by round 10, stacks are out the window. Yeah, again, I don't really. I've been saying it all draft season. I'm not stacking heavily. If it makes sense, like Herbert, Gadsden, and I like the quarterback tight end stack more than anything, especially this year with the mobile quarterback, which most like we kind of just went over. Most of these guys are. So Lawrence, Strange, Hurts. We don't know who his tight end is yet. May and Hunter feels fine. Loveland and Williams I'm doing a lot of. We don't know Daniels, could be likely, but we don't know Daniels tight end yet. You could do Dart and Theo Johnson, stuff like that. Jackson and Andrews, right? Allen and Kincaid. I like doing that. Who else do we got here? Even like, yeah, Mendoza, Bowers, Ward, and Gunnar Helm, right? You could do Daniel Jones and Tyler Warren, who I drafted. I'm not drafting much Daniel Jones, if I'm being honest. Fine click, but I'm not really focused on Daniel Jones, that's for sure. So, yeah, Young and Willis are kind of my last guys. Otherwise, I'll just wait and click Kirk Cousins late, sort of a thing. Is kind of my quarterback strategy there. Let's do a light goal for the for a second draft. We talked a little bit about exposures. We've got 30. Well, let's make this pick first. I said I would draft Kamara here if he's there. He's there. Let's take him. I'm not gonna overthink that. Let's just take him. I need a running back. Jeremiah Love could land there, but then that also might mean that Kamara is not there. I didn't take Olave, so let's go Kamara. Man of my word. We're at 18 likes. There's 21 watching right now. Can't really ask for too much more. Let's get to 20, 25 likes. Let's get 25 likes for another draft. 23 watching right now. Hit the like button if you don't mind. Let's get to 25 and we'll rip a second draft. We've got a few rounds to go. All right, what are we doing here? Done it, quarterback for sure. Done it quarterback for sure. I'm kind of just always clicking Chimera DK there, but he's gone. Okay. Likely could land in Carolina, but he's kind of a smash click regardless. I didn't necessarily want to take another tight end this early, but there's really nothing else here. Surratt, but he falls and likely could end up in Carolina. That's where he went to college, Coastal Carolina. This tight end room is deadly, so I really like that. I need to get back into the wide receiver game, I'll tell you that much, but we've got some clicks to do it. Running back feels okay. I didn't necessarily enact the strategy I was talking about and want to, kind of at all. But I'll take Kamara in the 14th round. I will take Kamara in the 14th round. We're up to 22 likes, three more, and we'll rip a second draft. So hit that like button if you don't mind, guys. It takes 2 seconds. It's completely free. Need 3 more. We got 5 more rounds to get there, and we'll rip another draft. Now it's just pick your poison. Do whatever you want to do. Draft whoever you want. ADP means nothing. Running backs and wide receivers is what we need. Scroll down. Coleman, I don't know if Coleman would make some sense on this team. I will draft him if it makes sense. We'll see. I'm not going to go Singleton on this team. That's for sure. It's just a little too fragile. I want a little more clarity, if you will. All right, we hit 25. We'll rip a second draft. I appreciate that, guys. But if you haven't hit the like button yet, still hit it. Still hit it. I don't get a lot of likes while I'm live streaming, which is weird. A lot of them come after the fact. So, yeah, hit it while we're watching. Hit that like button while you're watching. So the strategy I was talking about with running backs is kind of like getting to this range, and then you go with guys like Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby, maybe like Caleb, Emmanuel Wilson, I guess, though I wouldn't put him on the list. Ray Davis, Rashard Smith, Jaden Blue, Najee, Mike Washington, Devin Neal, Jordan James, Quinn Allen, DJ Giddens, like all those types of guys is kind of what I was thinking. So draft 2 early and then 5 of those guys. I am going to take Coleman on this team. I think it makes sense where I'm light. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. It's either him or Flanoy. So let's do that. There we go. Let's do Coleman. Again, I'm going to gamble that I'm going to believe Joe Brady. 16th round. Like, you really can't go wrong, if you ask me. You really can't go wrong with that, I feel like. Now, would have been Flournoy. That kind of stinks. And since he's gone, we're just going to pull up my guy, Jeremy Bernard. 17th round. I don't care what his ADP is. I want him every time, essentially. I think it's criminal. I think it's absolutely criminal that we have Jacoby Lane up here. Zachariah Branch, Jacoby Lane, Brazel, I can understand that. Malachi Fields, I don't agree, but I can understand that. Chris Bell, I think, is ahead of him, for Christ's sake. Or no, he's not. Barely not. Okay, so Jeremy Bernard is just ahead of Chris Bell, which is just wild to me. Wild. I like Chris Bell as a prospect, don't get me wrong, but he's not going to play until later in the season. So he might be a stone zero for you. So give me Jeremy Bernard every single time in that case. But maybe that's just me. I think it's wild that he's down here. Wild. And Zachariah Branch is, sub 200. That's kind of crazy to me. But maybe I'm wrong. Even if I'm wrong, 17th round. That's perfectly fine. We're going to finish it off with 2 more wide receivers and 1 more running back. And where do I go running back wise? I definitely have some options, so it's not really a concern. I'm not feeling any pressure to draft a running back here. 3 vets, 2 rookies. I don't really care if it's a vet or a rookie, if I'm being honest, as a running back, but it'll probably be like a vet, second, third year player, whatever. But that's not going to be the click here, I don't think. Branch goes, I guess, at 210, whatever. If you like him, go nuts. He's kind of fine. as in I don't like him at all. We're going to go with Chris Brazzell here. I definitely want a little bit more. Kind of gotten away from the click a little bit. I definitely want to sprinkle in. Not a huge focus, but I want to sprinkle him in here and there. So one more wide receiver, one more running back. I think I kind of know the running back that I want, though. Naj would have been on the board for us. Yeah. There's kind of just so many wide receivers that I don't mind. So maybe I just take a running back here. Yeah, I'm going to take a running back here, and we're going to go with, depending on who this guy takes. Yeah, we're going to take a Jaden Blueshare. He looked really good in that one kind of audition game he had. He looked really good. And, if all things break right, he could be in line for a little bit more work. 16 times, 64 yards and a touchdown. Let's get some Jaden Blue going. Said that he was overwhelmed, which makes sense. It's the NFL, man. You can't just walk in and dominate. No one really does. So that's a pretty fair statement. And it's I'm happy with someone being honest like that. The NFL is overwhelming. There's nothing wrong with that. So I think this room is still a little light, but I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to hope that my tight end can kind of crack my flex a few times, and that can get me enough points. Obviously, I need Chase and McMillan to kind of carry this team. I need Tate to be a guy. Coleman. I think when you're building wide receiver rooms like this, like Coleman's the perfect click down here. So obviously I was off wide receiver from pick 52 all the way to 189. So I think Coleman's the perfect kind of click in this type of a construction, because he could just be the wide receiver one on that team. We literally heard the offensive play calling head coach say that. So not say that he's wide receiver one, but you know what I mean. So I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm pretty happy with that. I've really liked clicking Blue and Jordan James as my last round running back. Yeah, I got a fair amount of Jordan James, and LeQuint Allen is someone you should throw on your list as well. I like LeQuint Allen. He's definitely on my list. Mr. Mufasa trying to pick up some Rashee Rice situation here. Probably stacked. Yep, that makes sense. Interesting. I like Jalen Royals as a rookie too, but he just did not get on the field. But that's fine click. That's an interesting one. That's definitely different. So I don't not like it. I'll say that. I definitely don't not like it. I don't particularly want to go with another rookie in this wide receiver room. So it's like Kyle Williams, Jalen Knoll. Jack Best makes a lot of sense. I have Igbuka. Otherwise, I'd probably go with Tez Johnson. I really need to get more Tez Johnson in my life. That's for damn sure. Really need more Tez Johnson. I think Andre Yoshua still definitely has some value down here. I just haven't clicked him yet. Devontae Walker is another guy, but let's just go with Besh. I have a lot of them, which I don't necessarily love having that much, but in this build, I don't want a rookie. I have enough Kyle Williams. I have enough Jalen Knoll for sure. I definitely need more Tez Johnson, but when I have Igbuka, I think Besh makes more sense when I have the quarterback as well. So let's do that. We're just going to jump into another draft. We're not going to rip through all the teams. There's a lot of teams in here. Sorry, guys. There's just a lot, and we can't go through every single draft. So let's rip in another one. Let's do do we want to do a little board or a big board? I don't mind doing one more little board, so maybe we'll save that. Let's do another big board. Let's do another big board. We're in right now. Jump in, waiting on 5. Tons of room. Water's warm. I would love to be a top 3 pick. I would love to be a top 3 pick. I have 0 Gibbs. And that's definitely not because I hate him. I have 1 Puka share, I believe. And I definitely want more of that. So give me a top 3 pick, please. One time. Need some LeQuint. Yeah. LeQuint Allen should definitely be on people's radar for sure. Give me top 3 pick one time. Hey, but I get the 1. Do I get off of Bijan? I don't think I can responsibly. Anytime you get the 1-1, you kind of have to just take the 1-1. That's how I feel about it. Basically, because you might be able to get him at the 2, maybe, but it's pretty much just at the 1. At the 2 or 3, you can get Gibbs, Nakua, right? You can kind of flip-flop. I have a lot of chase. I need more Gibbs, Nakua, or sorry, Gibbs, Puka. Oh. The thing is, like, if I had too much Bijan or something stupid, then I'm just going to take Bijan, man. I'm just going to take Bijan. I just feel like I have to him in the 1-1. I really would have rather 2 or 3. I know. Now I'm complaining. Hey, what a fucking asshole. Now I'm complaining about getting the 1-1. But we'll take the influencer 1-1 and go there. Have to take Bijan. I kind of agree. My theory and what I always say is if you get the 1 pick, just take the 1-1. Because how many times are you getting the 1 pick, right? Unless like you end up with over 10% of the 1-1 somehow, which is never happens to me personally. Unless that's the case, then sure, diversify. This guy's flipping the board. Goes Justin Jefferson at the 2. I don't necessarily hate it, but for me, it's kind of Puka. Like I couldn't responsibly take Jefferson over Puka, but I kind of or Chase realistically, but I get it, and it's kind of interesting. We've got Brooklyn Bum again in here, so I wonder if he's in the chat. Let me know if you are. Mr. Mufasa's in the 11 spot over here. Mind of a kid. Kind of like that. Big Wave Dave, hey. Getting Gibbs at the 4 probably feels pretty good. Chase at the 5 feels pretty good. Everyone's kind of getting kicked down 1, so even, Smith and Jigba at 6, Taylor at 7, all that kind of feels good. McCaffrey goes at 8. That's kind of surprising. But yeah, I only got the 1-1 once out of 56 so far. Exactly. You do. That's what I always say is you just take them. Just take the first pick. Just take them, move on, get your shares. Not really an unless. It's kind of unless you hate them for some reason, but how can you hate Bijan? I really don't understand how you could. So I do hate how I have 0 Gibbs and only 1 share Nakua. I hate that. I'd really like to get the 2 or 3 picks at some point just to get some shares of those 2 guys that, you kind of have to have some of, I feel like. Especially a guy like Gibbs, and Puka, right? But it is what it is. Beggars can't be choosers. I asked for a top 3 pick. I got it. So shut the fuck up, Cody. Draft Bijan and be happy about it. H.N. Genty, Cook, Barkley. We got St. Brown and Love. Maybe this time we'll do that little running back strategy. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to make any promises. We'll see what this guy does. Super John flips the board with Jefferson at 2. So we'll see what he does. I'm fine fading Puka to get Chase and Gibbs, I think. I really want to take advantage of this Chase price. I mean, I hear you. I have more Chase than anyone else in the top 4. So I'm always happy to take Chase, don't get me wrong, but Puka's Puka's the number 1. Puka's 1 for sure as far as wide receiver rankings. I don't his yards per route run for his career are absurd. And with Stafford 100% back, Devontae Adams is another year older, all that. It doesn't even matter if Devontae's there or not kind of thing. Like, yeah, he's still an absolute smash. We're going to take Derrick Henry here for sure. That feels really nice to have Derrick Henry there. And then it has to be Bucky. So we're going 3 running backs to start. But like Bijan Derrick Henry is relatively unique. Relatively. Pickens. Jefferson Pickens. That's interesting. Let's see what he does here. Walker. Okay. Just flipping the board with Jefferson, getting a unique Jefferson team. I don't hate that. That's different. That's interesting. But yeah, that feels good to go Henry there. Bijan, Henry, Irving. I have to get away from running back now, unless I take a 4th and then just I'm done at 4. That's possible too. We'll see how we do there. Yeah, appreciate that. I kind of like that too. Bucky, Bijan are division mates, and then Henry's, 1,200 plus double-digit touchdowns guaranteed, basically. Deal me in the house with the eyeballs. What's up, man? Appreciate you. Yeah, that's kind of a fun start. And again, the Bijan Henry is relatively somewhat unique. So that feels good. And then pull up Bucky. So yeah, somewhat unique of a 3 running back start. And then Harvey gets pulled up here. That's definitely different. I'm not sure I would advocate for that personally. I don't like Harvey at his ADP cost, and getting pulled up is, I don't know. Jeff A. Jenkins to gmail.com or gmail.com. That's an interesting name. Very interesting name. Kyron gets pulled up a little bit as well. Etienne gets pulled up. Now it feels really good when these running backs are getting pulled up the board. Now this feels even better. That is interesting. Usually Kyron and Etienne are not getting picked until the early 4th, and then Harvey is down here in the mid 5th. It goes at the end of the 3rd. So that feels even better to have this start. I'm sure the microwave, that's kind of funny. I'm sure he likes to start as well. That's fun. That's really fun. If I would have made it in this draft, you weren't getting Henry back. Yeah, I'd imagine. That feels really good. Heavy RB starts feel great this year. Yeah, it does. But we were talking about it earlier. Igbuka gets pulled up. Interesting. We're getting some pull-ups here. Guys are doing pull-ups. Henderson even pulled up a little bit. Wow. We were talking about it earlier with Legio, Paul Southworth. We were kind of chatting about it. He put something in the chat and we were talking it through. Let's make this pick and then we'll finish that conversation. Burden goes, so let's just take the falling Smith, get it a little bit unique, and have Waddle. I like that a lot. Couple pick value on Devonta Smith gets a little bit unique. Then we kind of pull up Waddle a little bit. Not really, but I have these guys both ranked ahead of where they're getting picked. So let's do that. I like that. So we were talking about that, like I said, in the first draft with the RB heavy starts, that we got to zig everyone else is zagging. So again, I'm not necessarily going to be doing 0 RB, but stuff like this right here, HN Genty, and then you just piss yellow, get your tight ends, get your quarterback, stuff like that. And then kind of like a modified, not even a 0 RB at all. I don't even know what you'd call it. I guess dual RB or hero double anchor. I don't know what the fuck we're calling these different things, but like those types of builds where you draft too early and then you're off until like round 12 or 16 or something. Maybe you take like Emmett Johnson somewhere in round 11, and then you take, 4 guys 17 through 20, something like that at running back. That's kind of like handcuffs. You have your 2 kind of studs, and then maybe a rookie that we like, and then a bunch of handcuffs that we kind of like as well. So that's kind of what I've been thinking. And I might do another modified version of that, where I have the 3, and then I can just take a bunch of handcuffs at the very end of the draft. And I only have to take 3 instead of having 7 running backs. I can still only take 3. I could potentially even stop at 5, but we'll see how this kind of works out. But yeah, just zigging when everyone else is zagging a little bit, and just modified versions of, less running back heavy starts, if you will. I've got Chase over Puka. We're 1 year removed from Chase having 17 touchdown season, and the Puka never scores touchdown narratives, but we're splitting hairs over 1 and 2. I want them both. Yeah, definitely splitting hairs. They're ranked 1 and 2. So again, I wouldn't fault anyone for putting Chase above Puka or Puka above Chase, whatever. They are 1 and 2, and that is the clear-cut number 2. I do not think anyone could or would argue that Puka, Chase are not wide receiver 1 and 2. I really think that that's just a silly. I'm not listening to that person. We're not. I'm not entertaining that. They are 1 and 2, and if you want to flip them, go nuts. And I want both of them too. So, but for me, as far as my rankings, I do have Nakua over Chase. I do, and come from a Bengals fan. Take that for what it's worth, I guess. But it's just the yards per route run with Nakua, the amount of volume he gets. Chase gets it too. I get it, but yeah. It's Puka. But again, yeah, you're right. We're splitting hairs. I don't even know why we're having this conversation, really. Wide receivers 100 plus last year felt really horrible. This year, I love them. I agree with that. I definitely don't disagree with that. But that's why, because the running backs have been pulled up, right? So it's fairly straightforward in kind of the reasoning or rationale for why it's happening. I guess we just go Tyler Warren here, get a little bit of value there. And then Ricky feels good. Don't necessarily want to keep falling behind at quarterback, but there's no one that I really feel like I need here. Hurts would have been cool. I mean, it would. I just said that you have to have 1 quarterback by round 7, but we're going to gamble. We're going to gamble on that. Let's take Pearsall. So yeah, that's why it's basically flipped, right? Now the wide receivers are going later and the running backs are getting pulled up. So again, we can zig where others zag, but it all and I mean, so again, that's kind of why I want to go down that road of drafting a bunch of these handcuffs, because all it takes is 1 injury, right? And then your 0 RB strategy absolutely worked out, right? So again, if we go way down here and we look at the guys that are, 20th round or whatever it is, someone like Najee probably signs. Let's say he goes to the Chiefs and he's like the first and second down guy, catches a little bit of passes, but let's say Brashard Smith or Rico Dowdle goes there as well or something, or they draft some, whatever. There's all kinds of scenarios where he splits, and that's fine. And then 1 injury happens and Najee's the guy. Right? Same thing with Devin Neal. Let's say they don't draft Jeremiah Love. They go with the wide receiver instead. Kamara's not on the team. Maybe Devin Neal's an absolute smash, right? Who else were we talking about? Jordan James. We all think McCaffrey's entirely on the table for getting injured. They just said that they have a big plan for Jordan James, 1 injury away to being an absolute league winner, right? LaQuint Allen. 1 injury to Bashal Tutin, they don't draft or bring in another running back, they don't bring in a free agent running back, but they draft somebody, in the 3rd or 4th round that's not a massive threat to LaQuint Allen or Brashard Smith, Bashal Tutin. And then Bashal Tutin gets a little nicked up, which he did last year, and LaQuint Allen, league winner, right? DJ Giddens, one of the highest volume touching running backs in the NFL, in Jonathan Taylor, snap counts, right, through the roof. 1 injury, which again, we've seen before from Jonathan Taylor, and there's a lot of tread off those tires. So DJ Giddens, league winner potentially. there's just a lot of guys down here that I think we can click in a zero RB type of a strategy, and then they can be an absolute smash. Ray Davis, one injury to James Cook, and he's a league winner. Tank Bigsby, one injury to Saquon Barkley. He's probably a league winner, right? It's just the list kind of goes on for down here. You could throw Sean Tucker in that conversation, right? One injury to Bucky, which again, we just saw last year, league winner. We saw the potential in a 1 week sample size, 2 weeks, I think it really was, but we know is his potential. So what, that took 2 minutes of talking through it, and we've got like 8 guys, 9 guys that could all be league winning running backs legitimately. So I think that's me talking. I don't know what your strategy is going to be. I do like the running backs early. I've been drafting the running backs early. I've been talking about it a lot. So I don't disagree, but I think, like, considering how much I'm hearing it, we have to zag a little bit. And I'm going to start zagging a little bit. Again, responsibly, because I definitely still love all of these running backs at the top, at least most of them at the top. So if I take 2 of them, then we can kind of enact that type of strategy. And I think I'm going to do that this time with the 3 that I took. But we'll see kind of if a guy falls into my lap or whatever it is, and we'll kind of just take it from there. But yeah, that's the long-winded conversation that we had twice already tonight, but with Paul and then just now. But again, I really kind of wanted to, it's something I've been thinking about the last couple of days that I think just makes like too much sense. So yeah, and we just have to get different. We have to zag. When everyone else is zigging, we got to zag a little bit. We're going to absolutely smash Purdy here. Has to happen without question. And then I think it's got to be another quarterback. It's definitely Purdy. That's easy. Do we take Bo Nix? Or do we just take Goff? Like, I just think Goff is so overlooked. 30 plus touchdowns every year the last 3 years, 29 the 4th year, 300 plus fantasy points. I really don't care about stacking him. He can spread the ball around and throw a touchdown pass to 2 random ass players, tight end and a running back or something, and then get 1 to Amon-Ra and 1 to Jameson Williams and throw for 4. And there you go, sort of thing. I can add Tesla late if I really want to, but I just am not going to continue to fall behind at quarterback. So that's the biggest thing. I probably should have brought up Baker Mayfield there, but I just think Goff is habitually disrespected as far as his consistency, just what he does. And really, I need points. So if Purdy and Pearsall is my kind of stack, great. That's kind of what I can focus on. But another thing I wanted to talk about, and this is what won Sam Sherman $2 million, is this guy right here, obviously. It doesn't fucking matter if you stack your quarterbacks. If Bijan has 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, you need Bijan, period, end of story. That's what happened with Derrick Henry. 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. No matter what, that's who you need, period. Who cares if you stacked whatever quarterbacks and, back stacks, whatever. Like, if Bijan, which you're telling me he can't do 203 touchdowns, let's say he does that. Henry has 100 yards and 2, whatever. Purdy, Pearsall, or even just a naked Goff. Like, Purdy was naked. This is actually kind of funny that Purdy and Henry are on this team, and that's what won Sam Sherman $2 million, was naked Purdy and Derrick Henry just going absolutely nuclear. So, yeah, that's kind of the way I've been drafting. Is I'm not really focused on stacking too much, but if it makes sense with Pearsall, Purdy, cool. If Tesla is there and it makes sense, I'll take him. And then we'll kind of go from there. But I don't really care if I have naked Goff. I really don't. In the 9th round too, whatever. I just need quarterback points is what I need. So Do I think Warren is a spike week tight end? He seems like a solid floor guy. I think he's a floor guy, but I do think the reason why I think he can be a spike week type of tight end, because I think he did it a little bit. He did a little bit, and I think they'll do it a little bit more this year, is the rushing stuff. 1 touchdown last year. I think they'll do a little bit more this year as far as the rushing stuff. Just like goal line stuff, I mean. So I think he can get in, and do some different things at the goal line in the running game. So, yeah, I think he can be a spike week guy. I mean, I guess if I'm right on that, if that does happen, that's kind of a big if, but if that happens, then I think he can be a little more valuable as a ceiling type of thing. I like Warren a lot. The numbers he put up as a rookie is obviously extremely encouraging. So, yeah. I think it's Darnold over Shuck, and I'm going to do that. Let's go Darnold. It's typically always EJ here, but I'm actually going to mix in Jaden Higgins. Unless I want to go Kittle, which I might actually do that. Let's go Kittle over Higgins. And that kind of just reinforces my point about the whole naked Goff thing. What's going on here? There we go. Kind of reinforces my point with the naked Goff. So if San Francisco is my kind of week 17 stack type of thing, then I just need some quarterback points to get me there. Out of Goff, out of Darnold. I might add a Darnold piece or a Goff piece. We'll see late in the draft. But again, that's kind of more been my focus as far as stacking is concerned, is like, as long as I have one where it's like just literally a quarterback with 1 pass catcher. I don't need a double stack, but if it makes sense, cool. And this time it kind of does make sense with Kittle. I only have Warren, and Kittle could be an absolute smash if he's back even if he's back week 4, which I think is more likely than week 1, but week 1 sounds like it's on the table. But regardless, I think just having 1 pass catcher with a quarterback, and then as long as it's an offense that we really believe in, then that's all I'm caring about. So if it's Goff and Amon-Ra, Purdy and Pearsall, Burrow and Chase, Daniels and McLaurin, Herbert and Ladd, you know what I mean? Lamar Jackson and Andrews, sort of thing. Hurts and one of the pass catchers, either one, doesn't particularly matter, right? Stuff like that. Like, that's kind of just that. If it makes sense to double stack, cool. But then, like, don't force it with your other pieces. So I'm not going to force it with Goff. I'm not going to force it with Darnold. If it falls into my lap, cool, and I'll do it. But I'm really not going to force it whatsoever. And again, I don't want to keep beating on this dead horse because I've been talking about it all draft season, but that's just kind of what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. So, yeah, and with the Warren stuff, let's put a bow on that. Like, this as a rookie, 817 yards, 4-5 with the rushing touchdown. As a rookie, that's very encouraging. Very encouraging, especially with only about half a season with Daniel Jones. So, yeah, very encouraging. I think he's got outs for top, let's say, I mean, I'm drafting at 4, so he's definitely has outs for top 3 for sure, tight end. I'm not sure he can get there as like the number 1, like tight end 1. But I think where he's going, it makes sense, and it's fine to click him there. Man, hate this kind of range. Really kind of hate this range. I'm glad he's still there. I'll take Rashid Shaheed for sure. And then I kind of have to take a running back, though I don't really want to. I don't like this wide receiver range. I would take Downs, but I don't like it with unless I want to go Sadiq. I don't really like it with Warren. Let's go Sadiq just to wrap up our tight end room. I kind of like that with the rookie. That's a fun texture. I really would rather take a wide receiver there, but it's basically like McMillan, but I have Bucky. That's fine. I could still bet on the offense there. That's totally fine. I've just done it a lot, and I kind of want to get away from having Bucky McMillan too much. Downs with Warren, I really don't want to get the slot only wide receiver when I have the tight end. That's a big slot. It just, to me, doesn't make particularly a lot of sense. Mason was kind of the guy, but I think I want to do this with the running backs. I was looking at AJ Barner for Seattle was my thought. I like that with Darnold, but I mean, then it just forces me to take Mason essentially, and then hope that Barner's even there because he may not even be there for me. It's right at ADP, but he's a great click, so he might not even be there. So let's leave it there. I kind of like, I don't like how I've kind of fallen behind at wide receiver, and I might push to only do 5 running backs, which I can definitely get away with, and then add another wide receiver because this is not a very strong room, obviously. So now I might just push to take running back, and not quite do that strategy because I think I have to add another wide receiver. But I think I kind of know I have to add another wide receiver to that room. It's pretty garbage. So I need to throw a little bit of volume at it. Like Pearsall, Waddle are wide receiver ones on their team. Probably. Definitely for Waddle and probably for Pearsall. Wide receiver 2 for Smith with a really unhappy AJ Brown. Rashid Shaheed, I need to get a good landing spot or just go back to Seattle. That would actually work out really well if he does with Darnold. So that'd be fun if Rashid Shaheed just goes back to Seattle, which is completely on the table and almost likely at this point with Kenny Walker news where he's not going to get tagged. They're going to have a little bit of money, though they have to pay, Witherspoon, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Might even have to give Darnold a bit of a raise, but we'll see how that goes. So if Shaheed's back with Seattle, then that definitely feels good as if he's the wide receiver 2 kind of thing, which I think he would be. For me, we're bringing in Shamir DK 100%. And then it's either Rashad White or Katron Allen. And then I can stop at 5. I mean, Pat Bryant seems like a value there, I guess, but I don't quite agree with that. Let's take Rashad White. I need a little more Rashad White in my portfolio. So let's do that. He said himself that he won't be back in Tampa Bay, so I'm not battling with Bucky on that one. So he should be gone. Depends on where he goes. Chiefs could be a good spot for him. Washington could be a good spot for him. Arizona could be a good spot for him. I kind of like any of those. And now I can stop at 5 running backs relatively comfortably and throw another running or wide receiver at that room because I definitely feel like I need it in that wide receiver room. So I don't mind this build. I'm just not going to be. It really takes. I've been saying it over and over and over again. The draft board is just so interesting this year. It's so interesting. It's really hard to it's really hard to kind of nail any strategy. It really is. Like you have to kind of bend somewhere as far as your structure, like trying to build your strategy structurally, if that makes sense. Right. So even what I was trying to do is take these 3, get off of running back, whatever. Right. But then I end up with Warren. I probably should have Parker, Harrison, Parker, Washington, all would have been the clicks. But then it's like I pull up Pierce, right? Which does that feel super good? Not necessarily, right? And then 3 straight quarterbacks, right? Where these should have been wide receivers, but who? I'm not even taking Quentin Johnston. Like if Pittman falls into my lap, yeah, okay. Do I pull up a guy like Addison? That doesn't feel great. Do I pull up a guy like Boston? Maybe, but doesn't feel amazing. And then it's like who falls? Then does like Jaden Reed fall? Does Shakir fall? Does Jennings fall? Does Coker fall? Right? If those guys do to the turn here, then okay, cool, we can do that. But it's just like, yeah, I don't. It's an interesting one. I guess Higgins could have been my click over, Kittle, which was what I was talking about. You could take Debo there, I suppose, but structurally, it just made more sense to do what I did here. And then this, do I take McMillan? It's a tough one. The board is just so interesting this year. It's honestly more interesting this year than I've ever drafted, that I've ever seen, as far as best ball is concerned, and different strategies and different structures. You have to kind of bend somewhere, and then if you go zero RB, like you're in kind of a world of hurt in the wide receiver department or running back department. Sorry, right? So yeah, it's an interesting board. Very interesting board. We're going to go Cooper and probably just Surratt. Yeah, if Surratt's still there, let's do that. Let's take both the Indiana wide receivers. That actually feels really nice. One of them could end up on Seattle. That feels really good to catch up like that and get, Surratt almost 20 picks past ADP. I definitely agree that he needs to get a lot closer to Omar Cooper's ADP. That's for sure. So I'll take them both at a tiny, Omar Cooper's a tiny bit of a discount. He's been rising. So that feels like a real discount. And then Elijah Surratt, almost 20 picks past ADP, feels pretty good. That feels really good to catch up like that. Yeah, nice. That works out. But yeah, back to just to put a bow on that conversation, the board is just so interesting. And then you have these like elite tight end options that are definitely guys you want. I think it's funny how Bowers and McBride just flipped. So now I'm going to try to be a little bit more overweight on Bowers, whereas it was McBride for me last year, not clicking Bowers. Now I'm going to be clicking Bowers and not clicking McBride. And I haven't really clicked McBride much at all. Just with these running backs going here, it's all of these running backs over McBride for me. But I definitely like Bowers. So it's funny how that's worked. And then even you could throw Loveland into that conversation. I think Warren is fine with where he goes in the 6th round, 7th round, realistically. I think he's fine there. So it's just a really, and where the quarterbacks are all pushed down kind of thing. Allen's the only guy within 5 rounds, essentially, the only quarterback. And then it's just like a massive range right here where it's just a lot of purple. It's just such an interesting draft board this year. I think you take your third QB late. That's fine. As well as third or fourth tight end. That's perfectly fine. Yeah. That's perfectly fine. Again, but then, and that's what I should have done. I don't disagree. That's what I should have done. But it's just like, who do I take? Who do I take? We kind of went over it. Like, unless I pull up or if someone falls into my lap or I pull somebody way up, you can, but it doesn't feel great a lot of times. So I don't know. It's an interesting board. There's just so many options. There's so many ways to go. There really are. So it's an interesting draft board. That's kind of all I have to say about that, I guess. It's an interesting draft board this year, for sure. For sure. Coleman would have been probably a good click with what I've got going on wide receiver wise, but long gone. That's fine. I like the 2 Indiana wide receivers that I got there. It's always Jeremy Bernard. So we're going to take Bernard for sure. And then I think we'll just take let's just take LeQuint Allen. That's who I want for my 5th running back. So let's just take him. In the 19th round, ADP means nothing. I don't care. That's who I want as my running back 5 in this build, in this room. That's who I want. So let's just do it. I like this room with LeQuint, and there's lots of options at wide receiver. There's tons of options. Don't necessarily need a rookie, but I guess I could. I would kind of prefer a vet somewhere, but I could take a rookie. There's lots of rookies I like down here. I will take Bond if he's there. I don't mind getting some clicks of Isaiah Bond. Just an absolute deep threat speed merchant, but that's fine. I don't want to take Jack Besh on this build, that's for sure. I mean, if Brazel's there, I'd probably take him, I guess, with literally the last pick in his draft. I like Ted Hurst, but I don't need any more. I think I need to get away from clicking him a little bit. Yoshi Voss, no, not on this one. There's a couple other guys, lots of rookies and a couple other guys that I don't mind down here as far as wide receivers. But if Bond is there, I'll take Bond. I just don't necessarily like Keenan, though, 120 targets feels pretty good, 80 catches. Just depends on where he goes, obviously. And I do not think he goes back to the Chargers. I don't think that makes much sense at all. I really don't for the Chargers. And I guess he does kind of make sense on this team. He actually kind of does. Maybe I do go Keenan. 13 targets for 36 yards. It's the Broncos, I guess. Well, he goes. Okay. Bond and Allen go. Okay. Allen actually kind of does make sense on this build where I do need a floor guy kind of a thing. Do I take Tez? Tez goes. Okay. I guess it might just have to be another rookie. It's not going to be Besh for sure. I don't want it to be Hurst. So I'm not going to go down that road. Ugh. Skylar Bell. Gotten away from him a little bit. I think it's just Ted Hurst. Kind of has to be, I guess. I don't want to do it, but I don't really want to do it, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it. So this is an interesting one. Ended up 3-5-9-3. Purdy, Goff, Darnold, Bijan, Henry, Bucky, Rashad White, LeQuint Allen. I like both those rooms. I think they can definitely get it done. My tight end room is pretty awesome. Warren, Kittle, and Sadiq. I like that a lot. It's my wide receiver room, obviously. And I just need one of these rookies to kind of hit like fairly significantly, and then we're in good shape. Devonta Smith, Waddle, Pearsall, Shaheed, and DK. Shaheed and DK are one play away from cracking your lineup every week. So I like having both of those guys. That feels really good with this type of a wide receiver room. So hopefully Waddle can get back to 140-ish targets. Pearsall can be that wide receiver one. Devontae steps up this year. And then one of these rookies has to really kind of blow up a little bit, and then we could be in good shape with this one. Lawson's in the house. Appreciate you popping in. Mooney. I'm not drafting Mooney personally. Dave takes Big Wave. Dave takes Bowers, and that's it. Not a bad strategy, man. Honestly, that's not a bad way to go about it. It's really not. I wasn't pulling up to Slaw there. Didn't make sense, but if he fell to me at 192, I take him for sure. But that's fine to just take Bowers. Honestly, it is. If you're going to give up the average, whatever it is, like 8.1 or 8.3 points or something like that, or even less for a tight end for 1 week, and you have Bowers, it's really not a bad strategy. I don't hate it. And then just 2 quarterbacks with Burrow and Mayfield. That's interesting. That is interesting. Double stack Cincinnati. He's got Ibuka with Baker. Probably took someone else down here. Nope, just that. Interesting. I don't hate it, honestly. So, yeah. I'm not drafting Mooney. I'm just kind of not. Did he even get drafted? Looks like he did. Yeah, looks like he did. I don't know, just not for me. Like, he's just, his upside is limited as far as tight ends regardless, or sorry, touchdowns regardless. And yeah, this inconsistency just isn't going to do it for me. And I feel like if they do franchise tag Pitts and then draft or bring in a free agent wide receiver, basically kills Mooney, I feel like. So I'm pretty well like out completely on the Mooney train, but we're going to get out of here. So we're back Friday night. Like I said, we're going to have BBG on, Best Ball guys. So that'll be fun. I haven't chopped it up with him yet this draft season. So he's going to be on. We're going to be an hour earlier than I usually am, 8 p.m. Eastern on Friday. That'll be a fun one. And then, like I said, back to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, pretty much every week until the start of the NFL season. We'll be doing it, maybe a little bit more during the summer. We'll see what we can do. But like I said, back on Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have some fun. BBG is on. We're going to get out of here. Like I always say on Off the Schneid, if you're afraid to be wrong, you'll never be right. Hopefully tonight we won the big board. Let's go. Have yourselves a great night. We'll see you in a couple days.